Most people think fitness is only about lifting weights and eating right, but the truth is your discipline outside the gym directly affects what you do inside it. If you're constantly giving in to instant pleasure like masturbation, you're training your brain to avoid effort. This video breaks down exactly why NoFap instantly boosts your workout discipline and helps you build a powerful body and mind. Let's dive in. One of the most profound shifts that happens when you quit masturbation is a rewiring of your brain's reward system. To understand why this matters so much, let's first look at how our brains process dopamine, the feel-good chemical that drives most of our behavior. Every time you engage in a pleasurable activity like eating junk food, scrolling social media or watching porn, your brain gets a hit of dopamine. The more effortless the reward, the more your brain starts craving it. That's why porn and masturbation become so addictive. They offer high dopamine with minimal effort. But here's the dark side. Over time, your brain becomes desensitized to this dopamine. What once felt exciting becomes a hollow routine. And even worse, your ability to tolerate effort-driven reward starts to die. You don't want to wait for a six-pack. You want the pleasure now. You skip workouts, you avoid discomfort. You chase easy highs and avoid long-term wins. NoFap breaks this cycle. When you stop giving in to those quick dopamine hits from masturbation, your brain is forced to adjust. It starts to recalibrate its reward system. Suddenly, delayed gratification, the kind of reward that comes from grinding in the gym, starts to feel more satisfying. You start seeing progress as pleasure. You begin valuing the process over the shortcut. In psychological terms, you develop higher dopamine tolerance for long-term goals. You train your brain to be okay with delayed reward. And that's exactly what gym discipline is all about. Putting in work today for a body that comes months later. This isn't just about willpower, it's about neuroplasticity. The brain adapts to what you feed it. If you feed it instant porn, it wants more of it. If you deny it and feed it effort, sweat and growth, it starts craving that instead. This change in your brain chemistry makes you not only consistent in the gym but actually excited about hard work. You begin to seek challenge instead of comfort. You begin to enjoy saying no to laziness and yes to effort. And that, more than any protein shake or fitness hack, is what makes someone unstoppable. 2. You stop escaping and start facing challenges. One of the most toxic habits masturbation creates is avoidance, an escape route from life's real challenges. You're stressed? Masturbate. You're bored? Masturbate. You failed at something? Masturbate. Over time, this habit becomes a psychological crutch. You use it not for pleasure but for relief. The gym, however, is the complete opposite of escape. It's confrontation. It's the place where you face your limits head on. You stand beneath a barbell knowing it could crush you. You run when your lungs are screaming. You do another rep when your muscles beg to stop. This requires courage, it requires presence, and it requires a habit of facing discomfort, not running from it. When you quit masturbation, you cut off your favorite escape route. You're forced to deal with stress in healthier ways. You start confronting your thoughts instead of numbing them. You begin to lean into discomfort because you've got nowhere to run. And ironically, this makes you stronger. Instead of skipping leg day because you don't feel like it, you show up because you know you're capable of more. Instead of hiding from your failures, you turn them into fuel. The habit of confrontation becomes your new addiction, and in time, the gym isn't just a place to build your body. It becomes the battlefield where you build your mind. This shift turns discipline from something you try to do into something that becomes natural. You stop needing motivation because now you've got momentum. You're no longer escaping, you're attacking. 3. More energy, more consistency. One of the most obvious physical effects of frequent masturbation is a loss of energy. Not just sexual energy but mental, physical and emotional drive. After you ejaculate, especially frequently, your body enters a state of recovery. Your nervous system relaxes, your testosterone dips temporarily, and your alertness drops. Do this repeatedly and what do you get? A foggy brain, tired mornings and inconsistent energy throughout the day. Which means missed workouts, skipped cardio and half-hearted effort when you do show up. Now enter NoFap. Within just a few days of retention, most guys start noticing a shift in their energy levels. They feel more alive, more aggressive in a focused way, and more motivated to move. Morning grogginess disappears. There's a fire back in your system, and it's not a placebo, it's real biology. Why? Because your body begins storing and redirecting energy rather than depleting it. Your hormones stabilize. Your nervous system becomes more active during the day and restful at night. And because you're not spending energy on porn or compulsive habits, you're investing it where it counts. Now add this energy to your workout routine and what do you get? Consistency. Not once a week motivation, but daily discipline. The kind where you show up even when it's raining, cold or inconvenient. Because now you have the energy to do so, and more importantly, your mind starts associating movement with satisfaction. That natural high from a workout begins to replace the fake high from porn. Your system is rewired to crave sweat over pixels. And that consistency adds up, not just physically but mentally too. 4. NoFap builds mental toughness. Mental toughness is built in the trenches, not in moments of glory, but in moments of resistance. And quitting masturbation is one of the most mentally demanding disciplines a man can pursue. Why? Because it attacks the core of your habits. You're fighting biology, psychology, and emotion all at once. And when you resist, you're telling your brain, I'm the one in control, not the urge. This act of resistance creates a ripple effect. When you say no to porn, you also find it easier to say no to junk food, to procrastination, to excuses. And that's where the gym comes in. When you lift weights, you're not just battling gravity, you're battling your mind. You're hearing that voice that says drop the weight, and you're saying not yet. You're on the last rep and everything hurts and you finish anyway. That grit doesn't come from motivation, it comes from mental strength. And the root of that strength, daily acts of self-control like NoFap. In time, this control becomes your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries to be disciplined, you are disciplined. And when that mindset walks into the gym, the results speak for themselves. Absolutely, Satraj. Let's continue expanding the script from point 5 onward, keeping the same deep and disciplined tone. 5. Improved focus enhances workout quality. In today's overstimulated world, one of the rarest and most valuable skills is focus. We're constantly distracted by notifications, thoughts, urges, and an endless flood of dopamine-triggering content. And porn? It's one of the biggest culprits. Masturbation and porn overstimulate the brain's reward center, leaving your mind in a constant state of craving. Even when you're not watching it, your brain stays wired for short bursts of pleasure. This leads to brain fog, low attention span, and the inability to stay present in the moment. Now imagine stepping into the gym with a foggy mind. You might lift, but you won't feel the lift. You won't be aware of your form, your breathing, your posture, or your intensity. You'll just go through the motions, and going through the motions never builds mastery. When you practice NoFap, your mental clarity starts to return, often within days. You become more mindful, more present, more here. This translates beautifully into your workouts. Instead of checking your phone between sets, you're visualizing the next lift. Instead of rushing through reps, you slow down, control the movement, feel every muscle. This presence improves your mind-muscle connection, a key factor in real visible gains. You also become more aware of your own patterns, how your body reacts to volume, how your mood impacts performance, how your rest and recovery influence progress. Focus becomes your superpower, and as your focus deepens, so does your respect for the craft of training. It's no longer about chasing a pump, it's about mastery, intention, and full presence. Every rep becomes a meditation. Every workout becomes a ritual. This is the level where average gym goers turn into athletes, not because they have better genetics or more supplements, but because their mind is fully in the game. 6. You regain control over your routine. A disciplined life doesn't just happen by accident. It's the result of structure, a routine that you stick to consistently, even when life gets messy. But here's the thing, addiction, especially to masturbation, destroys structure. Think about it. How many times have you said just one quick session and then lost an hour? How many nights have you stayed up too late watching explicit content, only to wake up tired, skip your morning workout, and start the day behind? This isn't just about losing time, it's about losing rhythm. Addiction creates chaos, an unpredictable pattern of behavior that erodes your productivity, your mood, and your self-trust. When you quit masturbation, you reclaim control. That doesn't just mean avoiding temptation, it means rebuilding your schedule. You go to bed on time, you wake up early, you don't hit snooze, you get your meals, your work, your lifts done. Your day becomes a system, one that you design and follow, and with every day of consistency your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself again. You stop making false promises, you stop relying on tomorrow, you execute. The gym benefits massively from this. You don't train when you feel like it, you train because it's on your calendar. You don't skip sessions due to laziness, you've eliminated the chaos that caused the laziness. Your workouts become a non-negotiable part of your lifestyle, and more importantly, your whole life becomes more efficient. Work gets done, meals get prepped, sleep becomes consistent, energy stays high. You're not just fit, you're organized, and that's what separates the average from the elite. 7. Confidence fuels consistency. There's a type of confidence that comes from lifting more weight, building muscle, or improving your physique. But there's another type, a deeper, quieter, unshakable confidence that comes from doing hard things no one sees. Quitting masturbation is one of those things. When you give up porn and instant pleasure, you're not just taking control of your actions, you're reclaiming your identity. You're proving to yourself that you can say no to your lowest self. You're demonstrating willpower when no one's watching, and that builds a kind of self-respect no mirror can reflect. This self-respect translates directly into confidence. You walk into the gym with your shoulders back, not because you look better, but because you feel better. You're not hiding behind shame. You're not living in guilt. You're clear, strong, proud of your choices. And when you feel confident in yourself, you train differently. You don't care if someone's lifting more than you. You're focused on your path. You don't need validation. You're already validated by your actions. You don't skip sets, reps, or meals because now you believe you're worth the effort. Confidence also creates consistency. When you feel good about who you are, you want to keep that momentum. You want to keep showing up. You want to push harder, not to impress but to express the strength you've built inside. This creates a feedback loop. Confidence builds consistency, and consistency builds more confidence. You go from dragging yourself to the gym to looking forward to it. You become addicted not to porn but to progress. You're not just lifting weights anymore. You're lifting yourself, your mindset, your self-image, your potential. And all of that began the moment you decided to take your power back from a habit that was silently destroying it. NoFap doesn't just help your mind, it transforms your discipline, your training, and your results. If you've been stuck in a cycle of inconsistency, maybe it's time to fix what's happening outside the gym, because when you master your urges, you unlock your true strength. Subscribe to NoFap Nation for more real truth, fitness-driven motivation, and tools to help you become the strongest version of yourself.